A morning sun spills across a busy American street. Cars humming, pedestrians moving in a rhythm that feels almost like choreography. On one corner sits a Starbucks, its green siren logo glowing, promising familiarity, comfort, and a ritual millions know by heart. Across the street, a small, slightly worn caf displays a flickering sign advertising coffee for just $1. Steam rises from both establishments, but the stories they hold couldn't be more different. Inside Starbucks, the air smells like roasted beans and sweet syrups, a curated blend designed to feel inviting. The baristas move with practiced efficiency, dialing in every espresso shot to precise temperatures, frothing milk to creamy perfection. Customers scroll on laptops, sip lattes in reusable cups, or chatter quietly with friends. There's a rhythm to this place, a consistency that feels safe. You know what you're getting here, whether you're in Seattle, Tokyo, or Paris. It's not just coffee, it's an experience wrapped in branding, designed to feel premium without ever making you feel out of place. Step into the small cheap caf across the street, and everything changes. The space is cramped, the chairs mismatched, and the walls have that faint smell of history, maybe last week's customers, maybe decades of routine. The coffee machine hisses, not with the elegance of precision, but with the urgency of necessity. The barista is moving fast, juggling orders, counting change, pouring coffee for people who are late for work. School life, $1 a cup. Nothing fancy, just raw, strong, bitter, and hot. It's the kind of coffee that wakes you up without ceremony. The kind of coffee that doesn't care about latte art or Instagram photos. It just exists to get the job done. And yet, despite the differences, both cafes serve a purpose. Starbucks is comfort, aspiration, ritual. The cheap caf is reality, grit, survival. Starbucks customers savor the consistency and the perceived quality, oft and willing to pay 3, 4, sometimes 5 times more than they would for a basic cup. The cheap caf serves millions who don't have time for frills, who measure value in wakefulness and familiarity, not branding or curated ambience. Starbucks is about storytelling. Each cup tells a narrative of careful sourcing, responsible farming, and the curated art of coffee culture. They promote reserve blends, single origin beans, and seasonal flavors that make customers feel like they're tasting something exclusive. The barista pouring your latte isn't just making coffee. They're crafting a small moment of indulgence, a brief escape from the routine of life. The ambience encourages staying longer, working, meeting, or even just existing in a place that feels neutral yet refined. The cheap caf tells a different story. It's not polished, it's immediate. It's life moving forward one cup at a time. The coffee might be bitter or too strong or a little burnt, but it's honest. It fuels truck drivers, construction workers, nurses, students, the backbone of the city who don't have the luxury to wait for perfection. Here, coffee is not art, it's fuel. Survival, ritual in the truest sense. The moments created here are raw conversations between neighbors. A quick chat with the barista who knows your name. A silent nod to someone else who's grabbing the same morning lifesaver. And here's the twist: the difference isn't just price or taste. It's perception. Starbucks customers are paying for reliability, branding, and experience. They may not even taste the difference between a $5 latte and a $2 latte. They taste the feeling. The cheap caf customers are paying for reality, for caffeine that works, and familiarity that doesn't require hype. Both provide comfort, both serve ritual. Both tell a story, but the lens through which people view them is entirely different. Starbucks thrives on aspiration. Walking in feels like joining a community of people who appreciate a little luxury in daily life. The music is curated, the chairs are comfortable. The smell of roasted beans is a signature of consistency. You could spend an hour here, and it would still feel like a worthwhile experience. Meanwhile, the cheap caf doesn't aspire to charm or impress. Its strength lies in accessibility. You can grab a cup and leave within minutes. And yet, for those who know it, it carries a sense of authenticity Starbucks can't replicate. Taste alone doesn't tell the whole story. Starbucks lattes are smooth, balanced, predictable, designed to satisfy a broad palate. Cheap caf coffee is stronger, sometimes harsh, sometimes bitter, but it has character. There is a sense of place, a sense of history in every cup, because it isn't filtered through the lens of corporate perfection. The cheap caf is a reflection of life itself, imperfect, honest, immediate. The cultural influence is undeniable. Starbucks introduced Americans and eventually the world to the concept of specialty coffee. They made people think about beans, brewing methods, milk texture, seasonal flavors, and premium experiences. They democratized aspiration. You didn't need to be rich to taste good coffee. Yet at the same time, they became the benchmark for comparison. Suddenly, every caf, every cup of coffee, was measured against Starbucks' standard. The cheap caf, on the other hand, reminds us that coffee isn't just an aspirational product. It's a daily ritual that shapes the rhythm of ordinary life. Its value isn't in brand recognition, in Instagram posts, or in curated experience. It's in its ability to keep people going. It doesn't matter if the milk isn't perfectly foamed or the espresso a little too bitter. What matters is that it works, that it fuels someone's day, that it is present when the city wakes up. There's a moment if you stand at the street corner and watch both cafes in the morning rush, where the contrast becomes almost poetic. Starbucks customers line up with a sense of purpose and leisure. Their faces calm, their movements deliberate. Across the street, the cheap caf is a whirlwind of motion. Hasty transactions, greetings shouted over the hiss of the espresso machine. Two worlds coexist on the same block, each serving its own truth, each fulfilling its role. And yet, in that comparison, something fascinating emerges. People often fall in love with Starbucks not just for taste, but for the ritual, the story, the controlled environment. People love the cheap caf not just for cost, but for honesty, speed, and intimacy. Both capture human desires in different forms: comfort versus survival, ritual versus efficiency, aspiration versus authenticity. The story of coffee in America has always been a story of duality. From the corner coffee houses of the 19th century to global chains like Starbucks, from small mom-and-pop cafes to artisanal micro-roasters, coffee has been a mirror of society. Starbucks represents what we hope to be: refined, cultured, consistent. The cheap caf represents who we are: hardworking, resilient, grounded. Both matter, both teach, both deliver. The final truth: there is no better or worse. The $5 latte and the $1 cup are different chapters of the same story. One gives indulgence, one gives function. One gives a moment of curated luxury. The other gives a taste of raw, lived life. And sometimes, after sipping your Starbucks latte, you might crave the cheap caf strong brew the next morning because life demands both beauty and grit. Coffee, in the end, is not just a drink. It is a ritual, a comfort, a story, a bridge between aspiration and reality. Starbucks versus the cheap caf is more than price comparison. It is a reflection of society itself. Two cups, two worlds, one beverage, countless stories. If you love discovering these secrets, make sure to subscribe, because what's coming next will blow your mind.